to today's webinar, From Idea to Your First AI Agent in Minutes, No Coding Required. A few housekeeping notes. This webinar is being recorded, so if you miss anything, don't worry. The recording will be shared with you after the session, so feel free to ask your question anytime via the Zoom chat. We will be addressing them during the Q&A segment at the end. So this is our speaker for today, Mr. Hugo Lim, our VP Customer Success and co-founder, and Damien, Head of Solutions.
Oh, hi everyone.
So if you have joined our previous Joget DS9 walkthrough, you may remember our technical experts introducing Joget Intelligence, our integrated AI suite, and one of its highlights is the AI Agent Builder. And today we will be diving deeper into it with the detailed walkthrough and demonstration. And of course, a Q&A session at the end. So feel free to jot down your question as we go. Right, before we jump into today's session, we would like to get to know the audience a little better. So we're launching a quick poll now. It will only take a few seconds. So I will give everyone a moment to respond. Right, thank you everyone for participating. With that, let's get started. I will now pass the session over to Hugo. We will kick off with everything you need to know about Joget AI Agent Builder. And Hugo, over to you. Hi, Hugo.
Hi everyone. Thanks, Noha. So hi everyone. My name is Hugo, and let me bring you through our webinar today. Thanks for sparing your time and joining us. Let me share my screen. Okay, all right. So let's get started. So we are going to take a deep dive into Joget AI Agent Builder, and here would be the agenda, right? The flow of the presentation that we'll be going through, right? So we will explain very quickly what is an AI agent, right? And then we will quickly go into the Joget ecosystems as well as the highlight of the day, the Joget AI Agent Builder, right? And how it would be relevant or how it would correlate itself with NCP, right? Then we will go into a live demo, right? And Damien will be walking us through, right? So from ideations to creations, right? We will show you how it will be you can create an AI agent for yourself. Okay, so very quickly, right? So let's start with what is an AI agent, right? Some of you may be new to this, but I bet all of us are a regular user of GPTs, right? In the likes of ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, right, and so on and so forth, right? But so all these LLM models, right, and they can help us, right, in our day-to-day in, say, answering question, right? So you may have an input, right, and then you feed it to the LLM, right? It could be ChatGPT, Copilot, right? It could be Gemini, right? And it will give us the output. And you may also, right, integrate the LLM with a specific service, right? So in this case, maybe calendar, right? So then this will establish, this will create a AI workflow. So what will happen here is that, so for example, my input could be that, the input could be like, let's set up a lunch meeting with Alex and Alice, right? So this would be the input, right? Then when we call the LM, right, it may be making one integrations, right? Specific integrations with the calendar, right? And it may connect to the Alice or anyone else calendar, right? And achieve that. And then in the output in here, right, you will say that calendar entry has been, or calendar invite has been sent out, right? So that would be an AI workflow where we would have a um, predetermined flow, right, on what can be done, right? So this would be a predetermined flow. So then this will bring us to the next level. That would be the AI agent, right? So we may be, in this case, right, it will have integrations with, say, calendar, weather, and restaurant. So in this case, I may be asking, right, I may be putting an input as the following, right? Let's meet up with Alex and Alice for a lunch meeting at a Italian restaurant in, say, downtown San Francisco, right? So what would then happen, right, is that um, I'll call this as act, right? So LM, right, will play two vital role here, right? And act means LM will then reason with itself and then it will act accordingly, right? So it is playing the role of needing to understand the input, right? And based on the input, then it will run through the LM large language model, right? Then it will then be also fed with what tools that are available to it, right? Then it will it will reason with itself, right? And it will deduce and or decide. Then it says that, okay, let's check Alice and um, let's check everyone's calendar, right? And maybe, right, you will also check what are the Italian restaurants that's available in the area that's specified, right? And then it may not actually make use of the weather in here because it has, after it gone through the thinking, right, it has decided that in the input, nobody or the user did not ask for what day would be the best day, right? So there's no need to engage the weather tooling in here, right? Then, so as you can see here, right, based on the input, the LM will reason with itself and then act accordingly, right? So there's no predetermined flow or path, so to speak, right, in order to arrive at to solve the problem, to answer the question that's being asked, right? So of course, this is a very simplistic explanation on what AI agent is, and there are actually various depth or various level of AI agent categorizations that we can go to, right? So it is something that I would believe that there will be lots of information out there, right? Because AI is it's a very trendy topics nowadays, right? So this is just a very quick introductions on what is an AI agent, right? And let's then go into the Joget ecosystem. So Joget DX, right, specifically the product, right? It is a enterprise application development platform, right? Where where it has a extensible plugin architecture where new functionality can be brought into the platform itself, right? So for example, in the form builders, there's a form field element. So new ways of inputting into a form, right, can be extended or can be developed, right? So the same thing can be said to the add-on builder capabilities in here, right, whereby we have the likes of AI designer, AI agent builder, which is what we are going to share today, right? So all these are pluggable, extensible add-on that can be built to the Joget DX platform in here, right? So the Joget DX builders, right, allows us to use prompting in order to quickly create a applications, right, based on prompting, right, using the AI designer, all right, and then through all the GUI interfaces here, right, we would be able to further refine what has been built by the LLM, right? So today we are going to again make use of LLM, right, in order to build an agent, right? So if you have any Joget applications that you have already built, right, then you can then uh, or couple it with the AI agent building, right? Then that would bring more or better functionalities, right? More better user experience to the end users. All right. So the Joget AI agent builders, right, can be used with any LM that you may be already using, right? You can also hook it up with a locally hosted LM. And so with the AI agent builder in Joget, right, inherently, naturally, right, you will be able to gain access to everything that you have built in Joget, right? So all the form data, right, or the table schema structure, right? So um, that will give the agent, right, enough information, right, to be able to understand your existing application's data structure, right, so that you will be able to answer any question related to it. So that's something that we will perform a demo, right, later on. So this would be the basic structure of the AI agent builder. We're going to go in depth and showing you where's where, what is what in detail later on. So I'm going to just skip this. So when you couple it with the existing Joget DX process builder, right? So then we'll be able to incorporate human participations or human oversight or supervisions as part of the flow, right? So you may already have a process drawn up, but with the AI agent builder, right, we will be able to incorporate it as part of the process as well. So with the platforms and the AI agents observability layers, right? So the trail, right, or the record trail will be logged accordingly, right? So as you can see here, right, so this would be the agent test run, right, and we'll be able to see the step-by-step execution as well, right? So something that you will, again, we're gonna see this in just a minute. All right. So next would be MCP, right? So MCP is a protocol that is introduced by Anthropic, right? So being able to all these toolings, right, or access to tools, right, by the LLM, right, it is supported by a protocol called MCP. So it is something that lots of major vendors, right? They have extended their platform, right? So that all of these can be integrated into a LM, right? Through the MCP protocol, right? So it is the same to Joget, where we would be able to make such integrations as well. So this will allow us to access a wealth of libraries or applications integrations out there, right? Because all the major software vendors are already supporting such a protocol, right? So we don't just get to build an agent, right, and have it access to Joget technology stack, right? We would also be able to integrate with other software out there as well, right? So this will be the flow, right? And this is when I'm gonna pass it to Damien, right? So Damien, we're gonna just walk us through, right, and show us a little bit of demo, right, with Joget AI Agent Builder here. Thank you. So over to you, Damien.
Right, thanks, Hugo. Let me just quickly share my screen.
Yep, I can see your screen. Go ahead.
Right. Okay. So let us jump into this news agent that we've built so we can walk through the basic components of an Joget AI agent. So over here in the first section, you can see this is where it says define agent. This is where we define two important things: the LLM service that this agent is going to use, and also the system prompt that sets the characteristic. So you can see in this example, we are using the OpenAI LLM service, with the GPT-4o model. So you can click on this element and it brings up more configuration options. And this is where you enter your API key. And if you're running your own LLM with an OpenAI compatible API, you can also utilize these two additional options to point it to your own local LLM. We'll cover more on that later in the demo, right? Then the next block you see is the system prompt. So this is where you define your agent's overall personality, the tone, the behavior, give it a role and some backstories. And this is essentially how you want the agent to think and respond. To the right, you can see that there are a few sections. So these are the tasks that the agent will execute from left to right sequentially. So the flow of this particular news agent goes like this. So first, it will gather some news from various sources, and then it checks again the database for any existing or duplicate entries and remove them. And then after that, it converts the rest of the result into SQL statements, and then it executes and run them and store the result into database, right? You could, of course, combine all these steps into one single task with a large prompt, but depending on the LLM service, the LLM model that you use, it may be hard for the agent to, follow through the instructions from the start to end. So by splitting them into smaller or more specific tasks, it gives you more granular control over each task and the tools that the agent uses. So from our experience, it also helps, reduce hallucination, and it makes debugging each of the steps much more easier. Right? So let's look at the first task, which is the gather task. Over here, you can see the first block is a simple text prompt. So this is the user prompt that will tell the agent what to do in this task. In this case, it's just some plain text that will give some instructions, gather news entries from a particular user query, and then return them into a specific JSON format. So on the bottom, you can see two blocks here. They are tools. So there are two tools over here, which is the JSON API and a Google Web Search. So JSON API, essentially, we are just configuring it to connect to a news API to get some news entries. And then, so we have two tools over here. So it's entirely up to the agent to decide which one to call. It may also choose not to execute them at all, depending on what you're asking it to do. If it decides that it already has sufficient knowledge to execute the task, it may decide not to execute any of the two. Then next we have we are asked on the next task, we are asking the agent to get the JSON result from the previous task, and then compare them against all the existing entries that we already have in the database, and then remove them accordingly, remove from the JSON array accordingly, right? Then on the bottom, you can see there's a new block here that says list data. So we have a various type of prompts as you can see on the left palette here. So this is one of them. So list data, this will supply the agent with data from the list that we have built in Joget. So in this case, we are choosing the list that will list out all the news entries that we already have, and then this will all go along together with the prompt to the agent, so that it can compare the JSON result against with the data in your list.
Yep, just to add on here, when you say what we already have, Damien, can you, the left sidebar, can you show the list builder? Yeah, so this is, we are actually in the scope of a Joget application where we have created a list in here, right? So we'll be supplying this list data into as part of the prompt. Yep. Please continue, Damien. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So on to the next step is where we want the agent to convert whatever JSON result left from the previous step into actual SQL queries in SQL insert statements, right? And then on the bottom, you can see there's another new block here that says form data tables schema. So because in this text prompt, we are just we are just explaining the task in very simple English term that we are asking it to generate strict SQL queries for MySQL database, which is the database that we are currently running on. So this this table schema prompt here will supply the agent with the knowledge of the table schemas of our database in this app. So if you look at this form builder menu over here, so it basically supplies the agent with the knowledge of all these table schema, the columns from all these forms in your app, right? So including news entry and flight related tables. So it knows exactly what table and the column names to construct the appropriate insert statements. Right? Then finally, on the last task, which is to execute the SQL statements one by one into the database. So on the bottom here, we have a tool for the agent to utilize to actually run any arbitrary database query on the local database. And finally, we have an enhancer here. So if I scroll on the bottom on the left palette, you can see there are a few enhancers. These are basically post-processor. So imagine, after executing all these prompt and tools, then it will go through these enhancers to post-process your result further. So over here, we are just including a JSON extractor to extract only the JSON string from the end result without any additional text around it. Right. So let's see it in action. So we can, right. Let me just refresh this. We can switch over here to the preview tab and test this agent in action. So this is the query, which will be the news that you want it to gather. So let's try something, maybe F1 Sao Paulo, which happened like a week ago. So then we can click on this run agent. Then on the bottom here, you can see Node Viewer. So this actually renders in real time on what your agent is actually doing. So you can see it is now executing the first task, which is the gather task. And then there's a couple steps involved. So it goes back and forth to the LLM. So it decided to call this JSON API tool. You can actually click on it to see more information. So on the bottom, you can actually see these are the actual request and response that goes through this step. So over here at the request, you can see the agent actually decided to call this JSON tool, and then this is the parameters that is passing into, which is exactly the search term that we're asking it to do. So these are the JSON result that is coming back from the JSON API. So we can see there are some news on the F1 Sao Paulo result. We can see, yep. So now it is actually executing, it has completed the second task, and then it is now converting the rest of the result to SQL statements. So let's give it a minute or two.
Yep, so like in here, we are breaking it, like Damien explained, we are breaking it into 3 distinctive tasks so that we can be a lot more precise. We could have also lumped all of them into a single task, and then we'll leave it to the LM to reason and to act accordingly. So right now, I think we are down to the last task. Also, there are 4 tasks in total, right?
Yep, you can see in the last task, it is actually calling the database query tool a lot. So because we are actually asking it to execute the insert statements one by one. Right. So now it has successfully executed everything. So if we scroll back on top, and we can actually switch to the result tab, and these are the end result JSON result that is telling us all news entries have been successfully inserted. 8 of them in total. So we can actually verify it with from our UI. So if we launch one of our UI, we can see these are the news entries that it has just inserted. There are 8 of them, right? Right, okay. So we have demonstrated that this preview tab is one of the way that you can, test and run and see your agent in action. There are actually a few more ways that you can interact with the agent that you have built. So we're going to show it now. So let's switch to another app that we have built to demonstrate that capabilities. So this is a simple inventory tracking app that you can actually download straight from our marketplace. So we did not modify the app in any way. We just download it, install it, and populate it with some sample data, some sample inventory data. And then over here, there's an additional menu here that we're trying to show this different way of interacting with your agent. So in this example, we actually built a custom plugin to provide a end user facing chat interface for you to talk directly to the agent. Right. So this is also to demonstrate that you can actually build custom plugins to interact with the agent programmatically through Java codes. Right. So let's give it a try. So this chat agent that we have built in this example, it actually understands the data in your application, the inventory, the tables, the schema in your system, and is able to give you information about your data within this app. And it is chat context aware. Oops. It is actually chat context aware. So we can try to ask the first question, let's say, list the inventory order by, let's say, value. So now in the background, it's actually executing the agent. So it's doing some work there. And then give it a, right. So it has successfully, list out all the table, all the inventory I have in this app over here and aggregated and, sum the value up over here. So just now I mentioned it is chat context aware. So every message that you send, actually it understands the history within this chat session. So I can actually ask additional question. Oh, now it's listing out the inventory name, the item name, and also the total value. But I need the quantity also.
So just to relate with what most of us use, chatgpt.com, right? So this would be one of the chats on the left, right? So you'll be able to jump back to the existing conversations and continue. So that's the context aware in here. Although it is something that can actually be configured, right? So that you can create a new chat in a new window, new tab, right? Or you want them to reuse your existing thread as well.
Correct. So it is up to you on how you want to design your agent. So in this particular example, we design it to only remember the history about this particular chat session. If you were to refresh this page or open it a new tab, then it will not remember any chat history or any previous conversation. So everything stays within this particular chat session only, right? So let's go over to the app composer and see the agent builder and see how exactly we achieve that. Right. So this is the chat assistant agent that we have built that powers this UI conversation over here. Right. So it's a fairly simple agents with just a few line of prompts. So you can see it's using OpenAI GPT-4 again. And then the persona, we are setting a characteristic of being a chat assistant and give short, clear, and concise answers. Right. Then we are supplying with the form data table schema again, so that it's able to understand all these database table schemas here. and then we supply it with a database query tool. So it is actually smart enough to, understand what we are trying to ask, and it knows how to construct the correct SQL queries and execute them in order to formulate the result that we are looking for, right? Just by some simple text prompt. So over here, we also added an additional input here that says the chat history. This is what makes it, chat context aware. So by along with every message that we send, we also included the entire chat history within this session into this variable, and then you can see in this text prompt, we actually included the chat history as part of the prompt, so that it understands the entire context of the chat session. Right. So this is another way on how you can interact with your agent through custom plugins and exposing them to the front-facing UI. Right. Let's move on to the next demo. So over here, you can see there's we have built a simple workflow, simple process, which is a flight request. So what it does is it allows a requester to fill up a simple form that says from which airport to which airport you want to go, and the departure and return date and the purpose. And then it executes an agent to do the search flight and do the ranking, do the recommendation on what's the best flight. And then it passes back to the requester to review and select the appropriate flights. And then it goes on to the next step where approver would approve or reject the request. Right. So let's try to fill in this information. Let's say we want to go from Penang to Singapore on the, let's say, 1st of December. And we are returning on the 10th, for example, for meeting purposes. Right. As soon as we click on this submit button, it will execute the AI agent. And right. So while it's doing its thing, let's look at what the agent is about. So let's switch to our flight agent here. So again, this looks very simple. It's again using OpenAI GPT-4o, and this is what we are telling the agent to do to be a specialized AI agent to search for flights. So if we click over on the settings tab, we can see there are 4 parameters here: departure, airport, arrival, and the dates. Right. And then the prompt is fairly straightforward. We are instructing it to search for flights and summarize and recommend mark the best or recommend flights, then return them into this very strict JSON format. Then over here, you can see there's a new tool here that says MCP client. So in this particular example, the flight searching part is actually done in a Python code that we built over here. So I'm not going to go through this part. So the Python code is actually starting a MCP server, and then by using this MCP client tool, it actually allows this agent to reach out to any remotely available MCP servers and execute the tools available in the MCP servers. So in this case, of course, I'm running it both the Python code also in my local host, right? But you can virtually host it anywhere as long as it's reachable from your Joget server. So if we head back to this tab now, you can see actually the AI agent has already done its work. And this is for the requester to review and select the flights. You can see this is, oops, oh. All right, something has gone wrong here.
No, it's okay. It shows that it's real. It's not orchestrated. Let's try again.
But there's another way to test it. We can actually switch back to this preview tab and we can fill in the information here. And we can see, of course, this will not be part of the flight request process, but this will just test whether this agent is able to retrieve and return the result accordingly. and we can run the agent. And we can see it's actually executing the MCP client tool 2 times. So I believe one is for departure and another one is for getting the return flights. Right? If we hop over at the result, we can actually see, oh, there's actually result return. So
Yep. Damien, sorry to break your flow here. Damien, if you don't mind, can you scroll all the way down? We have a question from the audience about like what would be the token being used, or
right.
would we be able to inspect the to and flow traffic to the LM? Yeah.
So over here at the final full response, there will be this usage property here that you can see all the prompt tokens. Yep. And
Yep.
if you use one of the newer model like GPT-5, you can actually you may be able to see some numbers here in the cash tokens that will reduce your cost.
All right. Hope that answered the questions to our audience. Thank you very much, Damien.
Right. Okay. So let's look at the process builder. So this is the way that we want to show you how it can, how you can include the AI agent as part of your process builder. So this is a fairly straightforward process. So it starts with a flight request form, like you have seen just now, and then it goes straight to the AI agent. And then the next assignment will be for the requester to select and review the flights and for the approver to approve the request. Of course, in a real world scenario, we would have the approval request done by a different person, but I know we are just simplifying this flow for demonstrating purposes. I think let's give it one more try. This time, let's say from KL to Singapore. Let's switch things up a little bit and see how it goes. So apart from, okay, let's backtrack a little bit. So just now we have been, inspecting the flow, what the agent is actually working on from the node viewer. But outside of this preview mode, there's actually no node viewer available. But what you can do is to head over to the settings tab and turn on the debug mode. Right, hit save. Then I will quickly go over to my Joget system terminal and clear all the logs so we can see what's going on. Then we head back to our process here and we click on this submit button. And now if we look at our Joget system log, we can actually see what's happening here. So it will output exactly what it is doing. The first task, which is the only task we have, and this is where it is executing everything here, the request and response, the MCP client. So we actually see there should be some result here, right? Right. So these are all the debugging message, very verbose with all the request and response object for each steps that it has taken. Right. So let's switch back to this and see. I hope we can see some result. There we go. Right. You can see some flights over here now, and along with the recommended flag. So we can just select anything we like. Then we can complete this activity or assignment and it goes to the next step. So if we go back to the inbox here, we can see this is from Kuala Lumpur to Singapore, and it's up to the approver to approve this request.
Yeah. So, Damien, for the benefits of the audience who are new to Joget, can you very quickly show the very first form in the form builder?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so this is a form, right? And if you make use of the Joget AI Designer, we'll be able to build a form through prompting, right? And then at the end of the prompting and generations, it will be we'll be arriving at this, and we will be able to further refine it, right? As you can see, there are lots of elements on the left and they are all extensible as well. So with this, it will be good, right, for the app designer to be able to still take full control and to be able to configure them accordingly. Damien, can you please click on the first text field just to show how it looks like to configure, say that we were to change the label, right? That you'll be right at the top there. All right, thank you. Cool, please proceed.
All right. Okay, so just now, so far we have showed you how you can interact with your agent from the preview mode, from the front end UI, and also from the process builder. So now let's go over another way of interacting with your agent. So over here, we can go to this chat agent. So this is similar, but a different chat agent than the inventory app just now, but it's a very similar chat agent. But you notice there are a lot more tools that we are putting here. So there are bin shell tools that will list some repositories from our Joget OSS account and get some files from our repos, and then we supply it with our list data, our news data list also from our previous example. And then over here, this is another new block. We can see it's called Run AI Agent. So in this example, you can actually have one agent calling another agent, right? So we have, in this example, we have provided the agent with many possible paths, which is entirely different thing, like listing news entries, doing flight search, and executing some bin shell tools. So it's all are doing entirely different purposes. So we can head over to the preview mode and say, list all the news entries. Right? So the chat history, we can just put anything, something, and then we can hit on run agent. Then we can see the agent will be smart enough to decide what to execute. So in this case, it has sufficient information alone from this list data prompt. So it decided not to execute any of the available tools. So we can head over to this result tab and see. So it's actually able to list all the the news that we have acquired from the first example, from our news agent, right? So if we head over to the execution tab again and we modify our query a little bit, say, list the flights from Penang to Singapore on the, let's say, 10 December, return on the 15th, right? And see how it goes. So it understands my intent and is actually executing the other agent, which is the flight search agent, to get the result for us. So yeah, it's done. So you can head over to the result tab and see it's successfully list some flight data, right? So this is another way where you can interact with your agent through an agent. So by building this complicated webs of agents, you can actually have a single generic or general agent out there sitting in front that can do all this orchestration.
Yep, just to point out, can you, on the left palette, so we have the LLM service, we have the prompts, and we have the tools, right? So these are also extensible as well. So there's also enhancer there. Yeah.
Right. Similarly to all our other builders like UI builders, form builders, list builders, these palettes are, like Hugo said, extensible. You can write your own custom plugins for each of these categories. Right. So let's talk a little bit more about MCP. Right. So let's go back to our flight agent here that uses the MCP client tool. So in this particular example, we have demonstrated that Joget can reach out to remote MCP servers and execute something and get back the result. So how about the other way around? What about if you already have some AI tooling or AI workflow or pipeline built elsewhere in your organization, and you want your AI tools to access to data or any actions available in your Joget instance? So in this case, we are currently developing a new plugin, which is the MCP server, which will turn your current Joget instance into MCP servers, right? So how it works is we actually have another builder called API builders that let's look at one example that allows you to expose the various components of your Joget server as RESTful APIs. So in this particular case, we have added a user component here that will expose all these various endpoints as RESTful APIs. So by utilizing the MCP server plugin, so it actually bridges, it actually utilizes your API, and then it exposes all these APIs that you have built in your API builder as MCP endpoints. So let's try to look into some example. So let's go to my Joget system settings and manage plugins. You can see over here at the configurable plugins, there's an MCP server entry here. So over here, we have actually added one endpoint with this ID that will point to this particular API that we have built. So it exposes all the endpoints here that we have checked as MCP functionalities. So okay, so let's demo the functionalities by going to, I have LM Studio installed locally that runs on the open source model GPT OSS 20B. And then I have also installed, edit this MCP JSON to include the URL to the MCP server plugin that I built in the Joget, right? So once you have installed it, it shows up here. You can turn it on and you refresh it. It actually lists up. So these are actually all the APIs that you have enabled. So there are like 8 of them. To see it in action, you can actually go back to your API builder. Let's try to uncheck one of them and save it. Right. So if you go back to the LM Studio and I refresh the tools here, you should actually see it reflected in real time.
Yep, one less item.
Right, correct. So then we can start chatting with our GPT OSS model here and say list the users in Joget. So supposedly it should not have the knowledge to answer you this question. So it may choose to execute some of these functionalities available in the MCP server to get the information that you're asking for. Right. So it actually decided that it wants to call this particular tool and it asks for your permission. So we'll just proceed. Right. So you can see it successfully listed out all the users I have in my Joget instance. So to verify it, I can actually head back to Joget, bring up my users management screen, and these are actually the default list of users that comes with your every default Joget installation. Right. So give me more info about admin. So it decided to execute another tool available here, right, to get the information that we wanted. And it's able to list out slightly more detailed information about a particular user. So because, let's head back quickly to our API builder. So over here, you can see we are also exposing the news entry list that we built earlier in the API, right? So if we head back to the LM Studio, supposedly we are able to ask it to, list the news entry. Let's list all the news entries. Right, so it's trying to execute another tool again, and let's proceed. Yep, that's it. This is how we can actually expose Joget as an MCP server that is can make it available for your existing, AI tools to utilize. Right. So let's go over the final demo that we want to show here. So let's hit back to the previous chat agent. Right, so far we have demonstrated, connecting to OpenAI APIs as LM service, and of course you have the option to connect to Anthropic, Gemini, or any other models available in Open Router. But if you want to connect to your local LM, so this is how you can do it. So let's hit back quickly to my LM Studio. Yep, sorry for keep going back and forth. So LM Studio have a convenient method that you can, just turn your any models you have and expose them as, OpenAI compatible API endpoints. So over here, you can see I actually have this running already, exposes all these APIs. So let's clear this log so you can see more clearly. So we can actually just copy this chat completions API, and it runs on the port 1234 local host. So I can head back to my agent and change the configuration to use Joget OS test 20B, which is the model that I've loaded locally. And API key doesn't matter in this scenario because I did not enable it. So over here, the API URL, I can just put localhost 1234 / this one, right? Then we can quickly save it. So now supposedly any interactions with this particular agent, it should go through the local LM that I have running in my LM Studio. So let's give it a try. Let's head over to the preview tab and let's ask the same question again. List the news, list all the news entries. Hi, right? So yeah, over here you can see some interaction going on in this log terminal. So we can see that it's actually now executing, reaching out to this LLM service running locally in my LM Studio, right? Obviously, it's going to be much slower compared to the OpenAI because this is running on my local machine, right? So we can see it is actually done, right? So yeah.
Can I see the node trail in the
Sure.
execution? Can you scroll to the right? Right. So in this case, it does not reach out to the internet at all. So your Joget is running locally and your LM is hosted locally as well. So in this case, we don't need to access the internet. Is that right?
Correct. Because the question that we are asking, it does not need to reach out to any tools to pull additional information from elsewhere.
Right. So yeah, so it is actually possible to design a solution that live in intranet that is totally isolated out of the reach of the internet.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So with that said, I think that concludes our demo for today. So I'm gonna hand it back to you, Hugo.
Oh, right. Thank you. Thank you, David. Let me share my screen. Yep. Thanks, Damien, again. Right. So I hope that we have demonstrated all the permutation and possibility. Right. So we have showcased the Joget AI Agent Builder and all the quote unquote complementary components to it, right? So we make use of the list data, right, or form data, right, and we have also showed how the various ways where we would be able to invoke or to call the AI agent builder, right? It can be through the builder itself when we are building. It could be through a chat interface. We can also do it through the process builder, right? So there are various means, there are various ways in order to make use of the agent builders. And what we have built in Joget as well, right? We will be able to expose it. Joget can be turned into an MCP server, right? And be expose itself like an API to other MCP or to other platforms to be used as well. And likewise, right, Joget Agent Builder would also be able to integrate with other MCP servers that you may be readily available in your organizations. So all in all, I hope that we have able to showcase and you would be able to find values, right, out of the topic today, and hopefully you're able to build an agent on Joget itself soon. So thank you very much. Passing it to you, Noha.
All right. Thank you, Hugo and Damien, for the insightful session and great walkthrough. We will do another round of polls, so you are welcome to participate. All right. Thank you, everyone. So I believe our speakers have covered all the questions coming from the audience. So that's a wrap for today. Thank you. Thank you again to our speakers and for sharing their expertise, and to all of you for joining us today. We'll be sending out the recording and additional resources soon, so keep an eye on your inbox. So until next time, thank you again and have a great day ahead. Bye.